Wish that you were better. Yo, what's going on, guys? We are officially live. That being said, before we dive in, let me just make sure that it's working on my phone. As you guys know, we've had technical issues in the past when going live on Facebook. So just give me one sec. I want to make sure that it's good. See, look, we're having issues. Hold up. That is very weird. All right. Hold up. Looks like we are good to go, but I don't know if anyone can actually see it. Hopefully you guys can see it. Let me just refresh. All right, we got some people in the house. Ariane, what's going on, man? If you can hear me, if you can see me, whoever's watching, drop a 1. If you can hear me, if you can see me, if it's working well for you, drop a 1 in the comments. I need to make sure that it's actually working. And for me to be able to do so, drop a 1 in the comments. If you can hear me, if you can see me, if everything's working well, drop a 1 in the comments. Okay, let me just grab the link. I'm going to go ahead and send it to my team. Just give me one sec. And then we will be doing a blast. And then I want to jump right in. So, here we go. All right, we got Rona. What's up, Rona? Hope you're doing well. Munawar. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Kimberly. What's up, Kimberly? Ariane. We got Ron in the house. What's up, Ron? We got Chase in the house. What's up, Chase? Guys, if you're tuning in live, drop a 1 below. And with that in mind, let's dive in. So today, I'm actually in Dallas. I came out here to visit a few 7-figure agency family members, and I'm going to be here for the next few days. That being said, that's why you see some beds behind me, because I'm at a hotel. And with that in mind, what I want to talk about today is how we went from 50K years to now we're doing 50K days, and that's just in one business. So when I started this journey and my first 9-to-5 ever, I was making 38 grand a year. 38 grand a year. And about, I think last week we hit 50K a day. We've done that multiple times. As you guys know, we do anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million a month cash collected in just one business. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I wanted to hop on and share insights with you guys through a Ask Me Anything format. So that being said, if you're watching live right now, we got Dylan in the house. What's up, Dylan? If you're watching live right now, drop your questions in the chat around anything that has to do with hitting 50K a day. So whatever questions you guys have, today my plan is to just add value, over deliver for you guys. No pitch, no call to action. It's going to be value all the way through. I'm going to be on with you guys for about 20 to 30 minutes. It's going to be a little bit shorter of a live today, but go ahead and share your questions. Drop them below in the chat, and I'll go ahead and answer them. So what questions do you guys have about my journey going from $38,000 a year salary to $50,000 days cash collected? And just to put that into perspective, that's more money made in one day than I was making in a whole entire year. So definitely drop your questions below and I'll answer them. Okay, someone asks, is 50K a day with a PPS agency or the coaching? With our agency, we scaled it to about 300K a month, and due to a few reasons, which I can dive into, we've essentially kept it at around 300K a month. So with both businesses combined, we do anywhere between $500 to $1 million a month cash collected. And that's pretty much it. Now, if you're wondering, Dylan, why we've kind of kept it where we've kept it, there's a few reasons. If we scale up the agency, past that 300K a month mark, a few things will happen. Number one, complexity creep will kick in. So you're going to have to add more salespeople, more account managers, more operations managers. It's going to get more complex. And the question is that complexity worth the small gains that we'll make? Because going from 300K a month to $1 million a month, you might think that you're making a lot of money, but in order to make that operational jump, you will also need to tap into your profit margin. So for us, our philosophy was more so, let's use the agency as a cash cow, keep it cruising at a place where we can run it really efficiently without complexity creep kicking in, while also squeezing away as much profit as possible. A few more reasons. Number two, once you scale up past 300K a month, you have to be willing to deal with some things that you probably weren't even ever thinking that you would have to deal with when running a business, like HR, like dealing with associations, like dealing with much more complex legal situations. At that level, you're playing at such a you're playing in such a big way that there's also much more accountability. And on the agency side, we're not that passionate about it. It's really more of a cash cow. So we just weren't that interested in dealing with all those issues. And then besides that, the last piece is to go from 300K a month to $1 million a month. This is a really, really, really important point, and probably the biggest reason why we kept the agency cruising. You have to create more products. You have to create more offers. So, for example, right now we run Facebook ads with Google Dialogflow and follow up. We train the clients, but if we wanted to grow to $1 million a month, we would have to go deeper and add more products. So for example, we could add Google ads. We could also add SEO. We could add totally different offers that have nothing to do with marketing. And that complexity, and it's just not what we wanted out of the agency. Out of the agency, we wanted something that was automated, simple, efficient, gave us a lot of profit month in, month out. And that's pretty much it. Whereas with the coaching, I have a mission to create the world's greatest coaching program for entrepreneurs the right way, done with integrity and set up in a way that actually gets people results. And it's something that I'm really passionate about. So I'm much more willing to deal with all the downsides of scaling that I'm just not willing to deal with the agency. So hope that helps, Dylan. And let's keep going. Ron asked, what has been the biggest mindset shifts from 50K years, 50K days? Great question, Ron. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes into who you need to become. But the biggest, number one, if you said, Joel, you need to pick one thing to give me today to answer that question, here's what I would say. You have to go from being the leader to empowering others to be the leaders. Let me break that down. To go from $0 to $1 million a year, you really need to level up as an entrepreneur. You need to become the CEO of the company. But to go from $1 million to $10 million, 8 figures, it's about getting other people to step up as leaders in the company. And not only that, it's really also about finding the right people to do so, right? You can't train a B player on becoming an incredible leader. You have to find A players. So there's multiple pieces to making this work. It's not just empowering people. You have to also empower the right people that have the right potential. But if you have the right people in place, the key to scale up in terms of a mindset shift is going from a place of how can I lead the team to how can I get the leaders of the company to lead the team and lead the company moving forward. So for example, Ron, I know that you are in our program, and you know Jasmine. Jasmine is our client success coach, whenever she brings ideas to me nowadays, I'm like, Jasmine, I trust you. I want you to just run with it. I fully believe that whatever you're doing is going to be even better than what I could do in terms of new ideas and new ways to get you guys better results. And that's the key to scale. So for example, I have not ran an ad. I have not written copy. I have not done a sales call. I have not managed the sales team in 1 to 2 years. I have the right people in place, and I've given them the space to rise as leaders in order to be able to do that without me. And that creates scale. So it's almost like, how can you take yourself, but instead of having just one incredibly talented A-player CEO, how can you have 5 within the company? So hope that helps, Ron, as far as the mindset shift. All right, Kimberly said, how many team members do you have in Atlas to handle at $300K per month? How many executive roles versus management roles versus fulfillment roles? Okay, let me just break down 7-figure agency team, which is probably at 100K a month, and then I'll show you how to make the jump. 100K a month team is going to be a CEO. It's going to be at least 1 marketing manager, at least 1 sales manager, at least 1 account manager, and VAs. That's going to be like the most base team. Like that is the leanest team to get to 100K a month. To get to 300K a month and beyond, it's really more just about adding to that core base. So for example, you can't close 300K a month worth of clients with 1 sales guy or sales girl. You're going to need at least 2 or 3. So to get to 300K a month, instead of having 1 salesperson, you have 2 or 3. Instead of having 1 account manager, you have 2 or 3. Instead of having 1 media buyer or marketing manager to handle all back end, you have 2 or 3. And the 1 additional role you're going to have to add is a project manager for every 7 new team members. So that's obviously just a guesstimate. It's not perfect, but as a rule of thumb, per every 7 new team members that you add, you're also going to add someone to manage those people. So that's kind of what the team looks like. However, there are subtle differences in every single team. For example, I had a business partner, so obviously it's going to look a little different. And in my case, for example, we didn't have to hire a marketing manager even when we were at 50 clients because I was running all the ads. So it's going to depend a little bit also on your team and your skills and what you bring to the table. All right, let's see. Shub said, how much should I charge for 1 appointment in real estate when I'm using pay-per-show model? Man, there is so much that you need to know about pay-per-show that is, I can't answer that question so simply. Like I can give you an answer, but it's going to leave you, it's going to set you up for failure, not for success, because there's so much that goes into the pricing. For example, we talk about setup fees. We talk about leveraging ad spend. We talk about sometimes we don't even sell them pay-per-show. So there's a lot that goes into it. That being said, to give you some sort of something to work off, I would charge at least a $3K setup fee. I would get at least $1,000 a month in ad spend, and I would charge $50 at least per live transfer that shows up. But again, the reason I have like 30 modules in our pay-per-show program that say you need to watch these videos before you get started is because there's so many little details that you need to know before you just set up the pricing. And if you just jump to and do whatever I say, it's going to set you up for failure, not for success, unless you have that context. Guys, I want to get some questions. Today is the 50K a day Q&A. So any questions around how to get to 50K days, I'm going to answer. Any other questions, I'm going to skip. So drop any questions you guys have around how to get to 50K days. Let's see. Zahid, well, guys, I'm waiting. So drop your questions below around how I hit 50K days. In the meantime, I'll answer some non-50K day specific questions. Let's see. By the way, I'm looking at the questions on my phone. I'm not just distracted. Guys, let's see. Larby said, is that 50K day all new revenue? No, it's a mix of some reoccurring and some new. So whatever business model you guys have, you're going to want to implement a few different pricing structures to be able to actually scale to 50K days. For example, you want to be able to offer some sort of high ticket package. And for example, if you sell a marketing agency service, one of the tricks that we teach in our program is selling 90 days of a retainer upfront. So for example, instead of selling $1,500 a month, you would sell the entire program for $4,500 for 90 days. So that's one thing. You want to have something high ticket that you could sell. You also want to have downsells. So for anyone that's not qualified, you can sell them on something else. For example, in our agency, we have the 60-day starter program, which is $500 a month for 2 months, not including ad spend. We also have reoccurring. We also have pay per show. And we also get money here and there from other things like upsells, cross sells, things like that. So the way that you stack to being able to have a 50K day is by having a mix of all those things. And if you're like, Joel, that's too complicated, ultimately, the way that you go from 50K a year to 50K a day is by doing more. And it takes time to get to that point, but ultimately, that's what it looks like. So you want to have something high ticket. You want to have something reoccurring. You want to have downsells. You also want to have upsells. So here, let me actually break it down. Your core off, you need to have at least a core offer that's high ticket. You need to have a back-end program to upsell clients to. You need to have a downsell program to downsell prospects that aren't qualified for your core offer. And then you need some sort of reoccurring embedded into all of your offers, whether that's $300 a month for software, whether that's getting paid per show after the initial setup fee. You need some sort of thing reoccurring. So if I had to break it all down, Larby, if I had to break it all down, it's going to come from all those things. New revenue on the core offer, upsells on the back end, downsells for anyone that isn't qualified, and then some reoccurring streams in your business. This could be things like selling them a software for $297 a month. This could be something like upselling them on additional coaching for $500 a month, things like that. All right. Akil said, what channels and methods do you use to get to 50K days? Akil, you're not going to like this answer because it's kind of complex, but we use a lot of them. I think to get to 50K days, you need to have opportunities flowing from all directions, and it's really hard to get to that level with just one channel. So it's just a mix of a lot of different ways of getting appointments. Everything from paid ads to email marketing to text marketing to voicemail drops to the Facebook group to having appointment setters to organic content that brings people in. It's a mix of all those things. And my recommendation is to start with one paid channel, one free channel to get appointments, and then slowly start to build on that. But if you look at the biggest companies in the world, they don't depend on just one channel. They have multiple different strategies. For example, HubSpot. We just paid them like 50 grand for their entire CRM. They have content. They do content. They do blogging. They have an outbound sales team. There's a lot that they do. They do email marketing. It's not just one channel. So my recommendation is to start with paid ads and a free prospecting channel, and then start to build on those. All right, what percentage of the 50K is organic and what percent is paid? Christian, we don't really look at it that way. For example, at our level, we essentially determine this is how much we're going to spend on ads. That's the budget. And whatever we collect that month, we attribute the total number of new revenue divided by how much we spent. That's our cost per acquisition, even if it didn't come directly from paid ads. So for example, let's say we spent 50K and we got back 150K of new clients. Then we know that when we put $1 in, we get 3 out, and that's month 1. However, whether it came from organic or paid, we don't really divide it up that specifically, because you have to see your ad spend more like a budget that you are investing to build your email list, to build your phone number list, to get your brand out there, to get people to know about you, to essentially get people to see you all the time. And all those things come into play to close the organic leads as well. So we actually do separate it out, like in our applications, to be able to see where they came from, but we don't ultimately look at the ad spend to determine if it directly led to the sale or if it maybe led to someone that we reached out to organically after they saw retargeting ads, then they bought. So hopefully that makes sense. How many staff or VAs do you have to help you hit 50K a day? All right, let's see. That's a great question. It starts to get, once you're at 50K days, and by the way, someone else asked, is ad spend included in that? No, ad spend was not included. And that was just in one of my businesses. So I have other businesses as well, and that was just one of them. Ad spend was not included. So that's total revenue for us. Alan said, how many staff or VAs do you have to help you hit 50K? I think, let me answer it a little bit differently. To hit 50K a day, you're going to need to have a marketing team, a sales team, an operations team, and a fulfillment team, and also a management team of like the leadership team. It's more than just who do you hire. You need to have actual departments at this point. So to go from 0 to 100K a month, you can have a small team, but to go from 0 to $1 million a month, you're going to need to have teams, departments. So for example, our marketing team has a copywriter, we have a media buyer, we have a head of marketing that manages everyone. We also have a CMO. Our sales team, we have our chief revenue officer. We also have a head of sales. We have closers and appointment setters. Our fulfillment team, that's really led by me. I'm in charge of product along with client success coaches and some VAs to support. And operations is led by our COO. We also have 2 dedicated tech people that work with us all the time. So it's more about having departments at that point as opposed to individuals. And the departments that you're going to really need are sales, marketing, fulfillment, ops. And then you're going to have to support all those things with departments like legal, financing, or finances, which we outsource. We don't do it internally. I don't have a full-time attorney. I pay my attorney by the hour, for example. So, or by like the 15-minute chunk. I don't know how he does it exactly, but he's not full-time with us. So that's how you essentially look at it. Let's see. Dylan asked, what are the issues with scaling the agency? Is it mainly human issues? Dylan, the main issues with scaling, it depends at what level. Dylan, can you clarify below at what level? From what to what are you looking to scale? Because scaling from 0 to 10K is a totally different issue than scaling from 10K to 100K and 100K to 500K, et cetera, et cetera. So let me know in the comments. And guys, I've got about 5 more minutes. So any other questions you guys have about how to hit 50K days, drop them below and I'm going to get through them. So if you have any other questions about how to hit 50K days, definitely drop it below. You have someone that's done over 8 figures in sales live with you right now answering questions. So make sure to take advantage of this moment. This is something that people invest tens of thousands of dollars for. So if you have any questions, now is the time to drop them. Let's see. Larby said, do your departments, are they being controlled? How do you track targets on each department? So we have entire data dashboards built out to be able to track targets. But ultimately, we have a head of each department that's responsible for that department. And then we also have the leadership team. So, for example, marketing has a head of marketing who's in charge of all these things. And then they report to the chief marketing officer, which is much more in charge of big picture strategy. So that's how we set it up. Each department has its own manager. And then that manager reports to one of the C-suite members. All right, guys, let's see. I think that's pretty much it for today, guys. If you have any other questions around 50K days, let's see. If you guys want to, so Dylan is asking, is it worth scaling past 200, 300K a month? That's a great question. You have to be willing to deal with some sacrifices and downsides with scaling to $1 million a month. It's not as sexy as people may think it is. For example, you may be actually more profitable at 300K a month than at 600, 700, 800. Then at 900 and $1 million, maybe you're more profitable then, for sure. But on the journey up, you're going to have to contract in order to be able to expand. So your profit margin is going to start to get tight before it completely opens up again. Because you need people, you need resources to scale. You can't just wake up at $1 million a month. And I used to talk about $1 million a month. Oh, we're going to hit it, no problem. And it's much more complex than you can imagine. There's much more that goes into it. So that being said, you have to ask yourself a few questions. Am I willing to lose out on profits short term to grow a massive 8-figure company? Do I want the responsibility of an 8-figure company? At 7 figures, you can automate it, live a pretty chill life. At 8 figures, there's a lot more pressure and responsibility that I talked about in terms of the people that you're hiring, in terms of legal, in terms of the sheer volume of attention you have on you. There's more that goes into it. So do you want to deal with that pressure? Do you have a long-term reason to scale this business? So for example, are you looking to sell? Is this something that you're really passionate about? If it's not, then maybe the downsides aren't worth it. They're just not. So for example, if you're trying to build the biggest company in the world to be able to then sell it, then yeah, it's worth to scale to 8 figures. But if you just want to make a really, let's say $100,000 automated a month, then it's probably going to be much better for you to do it at 300K a month than at $1 million a month. Even if at $1 million a month, you're profiting 200K or 250K a month, you're profiting more, but the stress and the complexity is way, way higher. So you have to be willing to deal with that side of the equation. And like for me personally, I want to scale to the moon with a coaching, but that's because I really believe in it. I have a very strong mission and I believe in the team and I want to grow as much as possible with the agency. For me, it served a very specific purpose, which was to create cash flow. And that's it. And also, to get to 8 figures, you have to innovate. You have to be constantly launching new offers. You have to constantly be launching new products. You have to build you have to build a brand around the company. And those things are less automated. Those things require a lot of time, a lot of energy. For example, I've spent exponentially more time on the coaching business than I have on the agency business. So you have to consider those things. All right, guys, I think that's pretty much it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the 50K day Ask Me Anything session. If you guys asked questions that weren't related to 50K a day, I didn't answer them because that's not what today's call was about, but I'm more than happy to throw a Q&A together that's just open-ended for you guys. So with that in mind, much love. Hope you have an amazing weekend, and we'll talk very soon. See you guys next Thursday for our weekly